You keep smiling around others while secretly falling apart inside. Some people are dying emotionally without making a sound. They smile in front of everyone. They keep conversations going. They post normal pictures. They show up every day pretending nothing is wrong. But the moment they are alone, everything changes. The smile disappears. The silence gets heavier. And the thoughts become impossible to escape. Nobody sees the nights they spend fighting their own mind. Nobody notices how exhausted they are from pretending to be strong all the time. Because some of the most broken people have mastered the art of looking okay. And maybe that person is you. Maybe you got so used to hiding your pain that now nobody even asks if you are all right anymore. You laugh while your heart feels empty. You help everyone else while secretly falling apart yourself. You wake up tired. You overthink everything. You feel emotionally drained even after doing nothing. And the worst part is trying to explain a pain people cannot physically see. So you stay quiet. You carry everything alone. You keep smiling because you do not want anyone to know how much you are actually struggling inside. But emotional pain does not disappear just because you hide it. It grows in silence. And slowly the person everyone thinks is strong begins collapsing internally. What if the real battle in your life is not happening around you, but inside you? The invisible mask. People wear the most emotionally exhausted people are usually the kindest ones in the room. They check on everybody else. They encourage people. They make others laugh. They stay strong during difficult moments. But nobody realizes they are doing all of that while secretly fighting their own emotional collapse. Because broken people learn something very dangerous early in life. They learn how to hide pain. Some learned it after being ignored too many times. Others learned it after being betrayed, rejected, or forced to grow up too fast. So instead of expressing emotions, they started burying them deep inside. And after years of doing this, the mask became part of who they are. People think they are emotionally strong. But the truth is, they are emotionally tired. There is a difference. Real strength heals. Hidden pain destroys slowly. That is why some people can smile all day and still cry alone at night. Their outside world looks calm while their inner world feels like chaos. Every conversation becomes acting. Every laugh becomes survival. Every "I'm okay" becomes another lie they tell to protect themselves. And the frightening part is that most people around them never notice the difference, because emotional pain is invisible. Nobody can see overthinking. Nobody can see silent anxiety. Nobody can see the pressure building inside someone's mind every single day. So the person keeps carrying everything alone until their soul becomes too exhausted to keep pretending. And that is when the silence becomes dangerous. Because the deepest pain is usually hidden behind the brightest smile. Why people suffer in silence. Most people do not stay silent because they want to. They stay silent because they are afraid. Afraid of being misunderstood. Afraid of sounding weak. Afraid that nobody will truly care. So instead of talking about their pain, they carry it quietly until it becomes heavier than their own soul. Some people have spent years pretending they are emotionally fine because they believe their struggles would only push others away. They learn to survive by hiding everything. The sadness, the anxiety, the loneliness, the exhaustion. And after a while, silence becomes their prison. They start isolating themselves without realizing it. They answer messages less. They stop opening up. They spend more time inside their own thoughts. And slowly, the world around them begins feeling more distant every day. That is what emotional exhaustion does. It steals your energy before it steals your happiness. You begin waking up tired even after sleeping. Simple things start feeling overwhelming. Your mind never truly rests. You smile with people while secretly feeling disconnected from everything around you. And nobody notices because you still look normal outside. But inside, your soul feels tired of carrying pain nobody can see. There are people listening right now who feel emotionally trapped inside their own mind. They want peace, but their thoughts never slow down. They want rest, but the pressure inside them keeps growing. And the enemy loves that kind of silent suffering, because pain hidden in darkness becomes harder to heal. That is why so many people break down suddenly after years of pretending to be strong. The pressure kept building quietly until their heart could not carry it anymore. And the terrifying part is this: sometimes the people who look the strongest are the closest to collapsing inside. The nighttime battle nobody sees. The hardest moments usually happen at night. During the day, distractions keep your mind busy. Conversations, work, notifications, responsibilities. But when everything becomes quiet, the thoughts you tried to escape suddenly get louder. That is when the real battle begins. You lay in bed exhausted, but your mind refuses to rest. Every mistake replays in your head. Every painful memory comes back. Every fear about the future starts growing stronger in the silence, and nobody knows it is happening. People think you are sleeping peacefully while you are secretly fighting emotional storms alone in the dark. Some nights you feel completely drained but still cannot stop overthinking. Your body is tired but your soul feels restless. You try to distract yourself, but the emptiness keeps returning. The pressure inside your chest gets heavier. The loneliness becomes louder. And the frightening part is how normal you look the next morning. You wake up, smile again, and repeat the same cycle. That is how hidden pain traps people. Not through one dramatic moment, but through silent emotional exhaustion repeated every single day. Little by little, the mind becomes overwhelmed. Little by little, hope starts fading. And eventually, some people stop recognizing themselves completely. They still exist physically, but emotionally, they feel numb inside. That is why so many people feel alone even when surrounded by others. Nobody sees the war happening behind their smile. Nobody sees the mental exhaustion they carry every day just to function normally. But God sees it. He sees every silent tear, every anxious night, every moment you almost gave up but kept going anyway. And maybe the reason you are listening to this right now is because your soul is tired of suffering in silence. When your soul becomes emotionally numb. Emotional pain does not always make people cry. Sometimes it makes them feel nothing at all. That is the stage many people never talk about. The moment when your soul becomes so exhausted that you stop reacting the way you used to. Things that once made you happy no longer affect you. Conversations feel empty. Motivation disappears. Even your smile starts feeling forced. You are not living fully anymore, you are surviving emotionally. And that kind of exhaustion is dangerous because it happens slowly. Most people do not even notice it at first. They think they are just tired. They think they only need rest. But deep inside, their heart has been carrying too much pain for too long. So the mind starts shutting emotions down to survive. That is why emotionally overwhelmed people often feel disconnected from themselves. They struggle to feel joy. They struggle to feel peace. Some even struggle to feel close to God because their mind is constantly exhausted. And the worst part is this: they blame themselves for it. They think they became weak. But emotional numbness is not weakness. It is what happens when someone spends too much time being strong for everybody else while ignoring their own wounds. Your soul was never created to carry endless pain alone. Even strong people break emotionally when they never allow themselves to heal. That is why some people look completely fine outside while secretly feeling empty inside. The smile is still there. The routine is still there. But internally, they feel disconnected from life itself. And many people stay trapped in that condition for years because nobody ever taught them how to heal emotionally, instead of simply hiding pain. But there is something most broken people still do not understand. God can reach the parts of you that nobody else can see. God sees the pain you hide. There are wounds people will never understand. Pain hidden behind silence, battles hidden behind smiles. Thoughts you never say out loud because you are afraid nobody would truly understand what is happening inside your mind. But God sees all of it. He sees the nights you cried without telling anyone. He sees the pressure you carry every day. He sees the emotional exhaustion behind your fake smile. Even when everybody else thinks you are strong, heaven still knows how tired your soul really feels. And that changes everything. Because God does not love the version of you that pretends to be okay. He loves the real you, the exhausted you, the anxious you, the version of you that feels emotionally overwhelmed and secretly wants peace again. You do not have to hide your pain from Him. People may misunderstand your silence, but God understands every emotion you cannot explain. He hears prayers spoken through tears. He sees the moments when your heart feels too heavy to keep fighting. Some people think God only moves in powerful moments, but sometimes He moves in quiet brokenness. Sometimes the healing starts during the nights when you feel completely alone. Sometimes God allows exhaustion to reveal wounds you kept hiding for years, because healing cannot begin where pretending still exists. That is why this moment matters. Your pain is not invisible to heaven. Your tears are not ignored. Your emotional exhaustion is not weakness in the eyes of God. And maybe the reason your soul feels so tired is because you were never meant to carry all this weight by yourself. Because eventually, every strong person reaches a moment where pretending becomes heavier than being honest. Stop carrying everything alone. You were never created to suffer in silence forever. But many people spend years pretending they can handle everything alone. They keep carrying emotional weight that slowly destroys their peace from the inside. They keep acting strong because they think breaking down would make them weak. But hiding pain is not healing. Ignoring emotional wounds is not strength. And sooner or later, the soul begins revealing what the mouth keeps hiding. That is why so many people suddenly feel mentally exhausted without understanding why. Their heart has been overloaded for too long. They gave energy to everyone else while neglecting themselves. They listened to everybody's problems while secretly drowning in their own. And eventually, the mask becomes too heavy to wear. Some people listening right now are tired of pretending. Tired of smiling while feeling empty. Tired of carrying anxiety, pressure, fear, and sadness without telling anyone the truth. You do not have to keep living like this. Even the strongest people need healing. Even warriors cry sometimes. Even faithful people experience emotional battles. The Bible never says strong people never break. It teaches that God stays close to the brokenhearted. In the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18, it says, "The Lord is near to those who are crushed in spirit." That means your pain does not push God away. It pulls Him closer. And maybe healing starts with one honest moment. One moment where you stop pretending you are okay. One moment where you stop hiding behind the smile everybody expects from you. Because real healing begins when honesty replaces performance. And sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is admit they are emotionally tired and need God to carry what they no longer can. If nobody told you this recently, hear this carefully. Your pain matters. Your emotional exhaustion matters. And the battles happening inside your mind are not invisible to God. You may feel broken right now. You may feel mentally tired, emotionally overwhelmed, and spiritually drained from carrying so much pressure alone. But this season of pain is not the end of your story. God still sees purpose inside you even when you only see exhaustion. There are people listening to this right now who almost gave up emotionally. People who kept smiling while silently collapsing inside. People who spent months fighting anxiety, loneliness, fear, and sadness without telling anyone how heavy life truly became. But you survived every painful night that tried to destroy you. You survived every silent battle your mind convinced you would never escape. And that means God is not finished with your life yet. So take a deep breath and listen carefully to this prayer. God, give peace to the person listening right now. Calm the thoughts that keep them awake at night. Heal the emotional wounds they keep hiding from the world. Replace exhaustion with strength. Replace fear with peace. Replace heaviness with hope. Remind them they do not have to carry every burden alone anymore. Remind them that even in their weakest moments, you are still close. And little by little, heal the parts of their soul that life tried to break. One day, the smile they wear will no longer hide pain. It will reflect healing.